Hi, welcome to 5 Minutes with the Family. I'm Fukui Drew, and today, after a month of playing mostly obscure sports and party games, I have decided to reward you, my 7 loyal subscribers, with a little platformer that I think will... Alright, I'm just kidding. It's another ridiculous minigame adventure, but in my defense, I was surprised by it too. Now, those familiar with Wagyan Land games on the Famicom or Super Famicom know that the minigames are actually an integral part of the series, but I have never played one of these games before, and I was expecting nothing more than a straightforward platformer. I mean, the box gives no indication of it being something else. Alright, now maybe it gives a little indication, but I was surprised to see myself playing a minigame within the first 14 seconds of starting the game. To get a feel for the game, I started it in easy mode. Here it's called Okosama mode. It is very easy. I mean, so easy, and this is no joke. My greatest enemy was falling asleep during the levels. You gain lives with points, and as it is very difficult to lose a life on easy difficulty, finishing the game with 99 lives is actually very easily achieved. In easy mode, the platforming elements are a breeze, but I actually think there is some value in this. Not many games are geared towards a younger audience, and in this game, kids have a legitimate chance of progressing through the levels. Sorry, wait. I blew through this little guy's introduction. The game stars Wagyan, I think that's how you pronounce it? A robot lizard that is trying to save his family and his species. The game initially has a Mega Man Sonic vibe to it, but instead of Dr. Robotnik, we have Dr. Devil. Not very subtle, I know. Also, those comparisons quickly go out the window once you find out that you don't actually kill enemies. Your only weapon in the game is your voice. This attack stuns your enemies, and if you take too long, they'll pop right back to life and they'll kill you. Your electronic roar can be upgraded to cover a wider area and stun enemies for a longer period of time. When it gets upgraded enough, it will make you invincible for a short time. The game has roughly 30 levels, and on easy to medium difficulty, it'll take you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish. It shouldn't take this long, but it does because there is a boss battle literally at the end of every single level, and this is not a joke. And while a boss battle sounds epic and fun, it really isn't. You don't actually fight them, you just challenge them to a minigame, of which there are only 4. I mean, it's such a letdown. Their graphics are large and colorful, and it has all the hallmarks of a great duel. But instead, you just pull out a deck of cards and play card games with them. Now here's a rundown of the games that will become very, very familiar to you. Mosaic Guessing Game. In this minigame, an animal will be heavily pixelated and you will have to guess what type of animal it is. In easy mode, it is a breeze, but in Kami-sama or God mode, you will have to decipher the location and the activity that is taking place. The characters are also much smaller and more difficult to ascertain. It basically comes down to memorization. Shiritori Game. In grade school, you may have played a game in English class called Word Chain, where you string words together by taking the last letter of a word and making it the first letter of a different word. For example, Wagyan becomes needs, becomes some, becomes extra, becomes adventure, finally becomes elements. Shiritori is basically the Japanese equivalent of that. It is difficult for those that don't know Japanese or at a low speaking level like myself, and even those that can read it well will find difficulty in God mode. Memory game, just like you used to play as a kid, only in easy mode. Every card is basically right next to its matching pair. It doesn't even feel easy, it just feels hand-fed to you. For the harder difficulties, you must remember card locations because the computer will never forget. The game basically boils down to a game of chance, and losses are just so frustrating. Every time this game comes up, you'll likely groan because it is the longest of the 4 to play. There's just so much text to scroll through. Also, the touchy controls make it easy to mistakenly select the wrong card. Anyway, it's a mess. Number Race. In this game, you are given a number, and then you have to race the computer to find that number among many others. It's the fastest, easiest, and therefore best minigame in the game. Even still, I'd much rather just blast the computer with some kind of laser, so... Now I have to have a serious talk about the game's hard mode. It's called God mode, but a more fitting title would be Broken Controller mode. Now I've never been particularly skilled at video games, to be honest. You would think I want to admit this, but you know, there's only 30 people watching, so I think I'm safe. It isn't the fact that these levels are hard that frustrates me, it's the fact that they are impossible. And remember, if you die, you will be forced to restart the level from the beginning. It isn't just skill that is required, it's knowledge through multiple previous playthroughs. One skill is further hindered by laggy response times and spotty hit detection. This can make a late death in God mode all the more infuriating. The graphics are fair, but they feel like they've been carted over from the Famicom days. The music is nice and perhaps the best aspect of the title. It has a Caribbean groove to it, which connects well with the theme of the title. I particularly like the sad music that ends each level. It's funny that the player is given such a dose of the blues when they complete a difficult level. It feels like it should be part of some dramatic JRPG or something. The game was developed by Nova Games, which made many Japanese exclusive Famicom games. It was published by Namco, yes, that Namco, their first game for the Super Nintendo in fact. While I appreciate many of the gameplay mechanics they attempted in this game, they can't overcome the high difficulty curve or the poor controls, and overall I give it a 52 out of 100. The copy I bought was 1,500 yen, it has a box and instructions. The cart has a little yellowing, but nothing too terrible. The price is reasonable, though it is a little bit on the rough end to be honest. Copies are fairly easy to find, so if you want some frustration in your life, you know where to look.